On today's show, we're joined by Houston Rockets broadcaster Ryan Hollins to discuss the Rockets through 2 preseason games, who have been the early standouts, and who's poised for a breakout season. It's all coming up on today's Locked On Rockets.
This is Mission Control, Houston.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. As always, I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, native Houstonian and a credentialed media member. I'm also the host of Locked On NBA Mondays. Be sure to follow along wherever you listen to your podcast or on YouTube. Just search Locked On Rockets, where the best way that you can help us grow our show is to listen every single day on whatever podcast platform you like the most. Like and subscribe on YouTube and drop a comment while you're there. Just do a drive-by and say, "Go Rockets." It helps us out a ton. Now, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And as always, thank you so much for making Locked On Rockets part of your day every single day, whether it's on your way to work, on your lunch break, in the gym. Thank you so much for being an everydayer. Joining us now is a very special guest, good friend of the program, one of the voices of your Houston Rockets, former player and color analyst for Space City Home Network, Ryan Hollins, bearded Ryan Hollins, might I add. Ryan, how's it going, my guy?
Oh, what's going on, man? It's been too long. How was your summer?
My summer was fantastic. I'm always a little bit bearded, though. You gotta illuminate us what led to the bearded Ryan Hollins experience, because obviously this is one of the biggest takeaways from the first Rockets preseason game was you rolled in there with a beard.
For me, one, it was just changing some things up, and Jackson, you'll see this. The older you get, it seems like the hair up top gets a lot lesser and the hair down low starts to sprout for some reason.
It starts migrating south.
I think it's just part of the aging experience.
Oh man, well I think the beard was a big hit. Look, as long as nobody else, as long as no producers or anybody are telling you got to get rid of it, I think Rockets fans are in agreement. You got to keep the beard, rock with the beard. Look, we had James Harden, the bearded one, for years in H-Town. Now we got Ryan Hollins, the bearded one in H-Town. All right, you're holding it down for us. All right, let's take a look. So Rockets got 2 preseason games under their belt so far. Let's get through some kind of, early takeaways. What stands out to you so far the most about this team through 2 preseason games?
Physically, our younger guys have gotten stronger. They're able to hold their ground better. The balance is better. They've got a better feel for the NBA, what to expect. And I think the cool thing, Jackson, we've always spoken about this, and we were trying to kind of get people to understand this in early stages. Like, you see, like, the best thing about young players, like, you see immediate change. Like they're 3 months away from being a completely different player. And a lot of times with veterans, they kind of are who they are. They know how they make their money. They know the sweet spots on the floor. You know what you're going to get from them. With the young guys, immediate success. So I would say the funnest part is that, like, we're starting the year kind of where we ended last year, where these guys get the speed and tempo. And from speaking to Ime and hearing everything that they had to say, is that they don't have to reteach new concepts. They had a whole slate of new concepts they had to teach to our young guys last year. And we're kind of really just figuring out who everybody was. Now they know who everybody is. So now it's more of a plug and play situation.
It definitely, like, all through training camp, that was like a big theme from Ime down to the players. Everybody was talking about chemistry and continuity being such a big factor. And I do think at times, right, as fans, media, whatever, sometimes we downplay or don't realize the importance of that, right? Where when you know when you are able to expect what your teammates are bringing to the table, or when you don't have to sit there and try and process new information that a coach is giving you. Because, I mean, coach has talked about this before, and other coaches have shared this, but across the NBA, right? All the schemes, everything's the same. You're doing all the same principles, but you call it different things, or the terminology, the verbiage is different. So you might have, for a guy like Fred, right, who was in Toronto his whole career, he might have been calling out something, completely different for a defensive coverage for 7 years. And then he gets to Houston and Ime's like, yeah, okay, it's the same coverage, but we're going to call it this. Or you have to, when you're seeing something come up on offense, we're going to call this play this instead. And it's picking up on all those concepts that they don't have to do again. So I'm in full agreement with you there.
Yeah, my first years in the NBA, I had a different coach every season. So I had to adjust very quickly. But when you first go through it, you're going, as a young guy, man, this coach used to like that I ran the floor fast. Well, this coach wants me to execute better. And you can get lost in the shuffle. So it's always good coming back with continuity, especially at the NBA level. And it took me probably 5 or 6 years to say, hold on, one of your skills needs to be that you can adjust to a different coach's play style immediately. You need to be giving coach what he wants and make that first impression. But the best part about our guys, they know what to do. They should be comfortable with it. But again, yes, even to the veterans, it was a growing pains and experiences because Ime's different. Like Ime's on the other end in this era of scoring where he like rewards the Tari Easons for hustling and diving on the floor, where the other coaches like, well, did he have 20 points tonight? Ime's like, nah, did he have 20 rebounds, 20 steals, 20 deflections, in the game? And I think that's what's really cool. But I know that was definitely an adjustment for our guys and probably any other player that would be in this situation.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring up Ime because, and I want to get some of your thoughts on some of the specific young guys, right? Kind of some things that have stood out early on, and kind of what we're expecting from some of these guys as we navigate into the season. Just a couple of weeks away from the start of the season, which is kind of crazy to think about. But this is kind of a big year for Ime too, right? Because this is his first time where he's a returning head coach, right? Because he had the 1 year in Boston. Obviously, what happened. Then he gets his first year here. So this is his first time being a returning head coach. And that's a big opportunity for him to kind of build on the stuff that he established last year, right? He talked about last year a lot, like he put the foundation in, he kept things kind of vanilla at times. So now he can build on everything that he already put in place last year.
No, you're right about that. Man, honestly, when I look at Ime, and again, I think in 10 years, I had 11 or 12 coaches in the NBA, which is like ridiculous. He's one of the greatest coaches I've ever seen. He gets it. It's like if Popovich was a 6'8" former player, like that can talk the player talk. I think that's really what you get from Ime at the end of the day. So, I don't think a lot of people thought he could kind of teach a rebuild, or I don't even want to say rebuild, but like the hardest, like you can rebuild them, you can teach them, you can get fundamentals, you can, teach culture. Steven did an unbelievable job there. But like for Ime to be like, all right, like let's get over the hump. That's hard to teach because you're breaking a lot of, I don't even want to say breaking bad habits. You're just changing things, So for what he did last year, man, that's hard to look your star player or one of the guys in the face and say like, nah, I know you always used to do things this way. Trust me and do it this way, So the game players trust, man. That's probably one of the more impressive things I've seen from him. So I think this year should be a lot easier. But I'll say one thing from Ime, man, that it gives me faith and no worrying that like, dude, he is consistent. Like some people at a certain point may fold, may change what they're doing. He is consistent. He knows what he wants. So his vision, if it makes sense to answer your question, Jackson, his vision has always been here. Like compete, go. Like last year, our guys were still adjusting. They may have said they want to compete and go, but they didn't necessarily know maybe what that looked like. But right now, our guys are getting to where his mindset was. So I think that's the exciting thing for him. But he's not at certain levels. He's already there, and it's just our guys kind of catching up to him, and they've done a spectacular job.
I love hearing that. And just, when just being around Ime, you could tell he's got like an edge to him. Like it's, and it's very like I feel like a lot of the Popovich guys they don't fall far from the tree, or the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Cause even the humor is similar, right? Like even, Popovich known for the, he's gotten a little more jokey, jokestery, whatever, in his older age, but he's got that sly sense of humor where he'll be so serious through a whole presser and then he'll drop that one little joke and he won't even crack a smile. smile. And then it takes a second to register. You're like, was that a joke? And then it lands, and he'll get you like a little smirk, like a little. And then you're like, oh, okay, it was a joke. Got it. Okay, thanks, Ime.
Were you a little intimidated in the pressers? Are you walking in on edge, man? Are you
Honestly,
nervous to throw that question out?
Never intimidated in that regard. He's got a seriousness to him, but it's not like, and it's not like an intimidating seriousness. It's just you could tell he's got an edge to him, and you could tell there's a competitive fire to him in how he answers stuff, how he holds himself, and the guys have absolutely embraced that identity, right? You talk about a coach is kind of the culture setter for the team, right? He's the leader. It starts at the top with him, and then he distills the culture from there. That's exactly where, you see how this team evolved, and they took on kind of that fighting mentality. It's literally the fighting mentality. They got in a lot of fights last season, right? They embodied everything that Ime is and was as a player, as a coach, and they put that on the floor, and it was a great product to see, and now they get a chance to kind of build on that further this season. Coming up, I want to talk about some early standouts from the first couple preseason games and who we think are poised to have some breakout seasons this upcoming campaign. We're going to get there in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Look, Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different ticketing offers. But they also have a bunch of other amazing features too, like their Game Time ticket coverage, the most flexible customer service policy in the industry, their lowest price guarantee, views from your seat, so you know exactly what to expect when you get to your venue. But my personal favorite is their all-in pricing feature. So when you download the Game Time app, you toggle on their all-in pricing feature. They are fully transparent from start to finish with your price. I don't know about you, but when you're buying tickets, could be to, like when I'm buying tickets to a concert or a game or whatever, and you go through the whole process, at the very end they hit you with like the digital handling fee and the service charges and the convenience fee. You wind up paying more in fees than you do for your actual tickets. It's the worst. Doesn't happen with Game Time. They're fully transparent with their all-in pricing feature. So take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. And continuing on here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball, chatting with Space City Home Network's color analyst Ryan Hollins. Now, Ryan, we got the two preseason games so far, and there have been, there have been some ups and some downs for these first couple preseason games. First off, it's preseason. You take it with a grain of salt. I don't know about you. How seriously did you ever take preseason? Was it, did you go in, did it kind of depend on your coaches? Like, did they want it to be like a dress rehearsal where you did take it super seriously, or did you kind of go in there and you're like, it's preseason, I'm giving like 70%?
Every team was different, but I will say within my 10 years, my best seasons as a pro, I came in ready for preseason. And championship teams look like championship teams. Playoff teams look like playoff teams in preseason. Now, obviously, you have certain teams that can just turn it around, veterans that can turn around. They know how to deal with the mental aspect of the NBA. But my best years, I came in ready. There wasn't that like, it's preseason excuse. Like I wasn't prepared that night. So for me, that's the exciting part, seeing that a lot of these guys came in, seemingly over-prepared, Jackson, to those first and second contests that we've seen.
Yeah, I think there have been some really strong performances through the first couple games. Give me who has stood out to you the most through these first two games?
Okay, I don't know if I'm like crazy. And you probably understand. I felt like of the guys that played in both the games, some guys, if you had like a great game, your second game was good. And if you had a good game, your second game was great. I don't know if that makes sense. So
I could see that a little bit. Yeah.
And obviously different styles. And keep in mind, versus Utah, who's going to be very competitive, Oklahoma City is going to be competing for a championship this year.
Yeah.
So it was like, and they put their guys out there. Like Shea was out there, Chet was out there, Hartenstein.
That was a full dress rehearsal for OKC.
So it may be a little harder to evaluate, or you got to realize and put some respect on OKC. Like, oh my God, like they were really good. But I would say, in fairness, everybody had their moments. Who jumps out at me is the immediate, like, oh my God, like Cam and Amin. Okay. Cam Whitmore looked like, okay, he's starting to figure this thing out. Like you love that his mentality. I love that Cam airs on the side of go, go, go. I'm gonna body you. I'm gonna get a bucket. If I'm open, I'm not shy. The next one is going in. And for a min, he is you get so excited from a coaching aspect to see a guy that I can not just lock down on my best another team's best player, but I can put him in different positions, and he's an impact player. Okay, so a guy who can make an impact, who can create a steal, who can create offense from a defensive end. Offense we'd call, you have our playmakers on offense. He's a defensive playmaker. And that's really unique. And what's crazy, it looks like it's not just Jabari who put on about 10 pounds. Amin Thompson looks like he put on about 10 pounds of muscle.
Oh, he looks big. He looks big.
Yeah. Like for a moment, I don't know if you hit Detroit, you see him next to his brother. His brother was way bigger. We're like, okay, that's normally you have a twin that's a little bigger. We're like, nah, Min might be the small brother now. So like, listen, man, he looked almost like, yo, man, slow it down. We saw what we need to see, like slow it down. But like a playmaker defensively, and those instincts were there. And if you kind of glean anything from a man's personality on the floor, he's a perfectionist. Dude don't like to make mistakes. Extremely high IQ. And now he's getting a chance to see the chances that he can take. Instead of saying, let me play it safe, be disciplined, be where I'm supposed to be. He's a student of the game, watching this film, doing an excellent job. But now he's learning, okay, these are the risks I can take. These are the gambles that I can make. This is where I can be aggressive in my moments. And it's been fun to watch. It looks like also he's getting his feet under him. Sometimes you don't get it, Jackson, but a lot of these guys don't have their feet under them. You're seeing them playing at 70 or 80%, but he looked physically top of being a really good athlete. He looked imposing. Okay. If that would be the word I'd say.
I love that. I love that word imposing for Amin Thompson because last season it felt like you talk about getting his feet under him, right? It almost felt like he still wasn't sure. I likened it at points last season to like a baby giraffe kind of learning how to walk for the first time. Cause like he just, at some points you could see he would like, it would click for a second, right? He'd get the ball, get a rebound, go in transition, just dunking on top of somebody. He was like, oh, wow, I can do that. And so once he started figuring those things out towards the end of the season, you started to see it with a little bit more regularity. And then guys were talking about it at media day, training camp, right? Fred was talking about that Amin has like figured it out, right? That he's just like, he was bullying everybody at that scrimmage in LA that Jalen Green hosted. And I think you're starting to see, Amin talked about it, right? You're seeing a much more confident version of Amin Thompson. Not to say that he wasn't confident before, but now it's like, it's just radiating out of him, right? In his media sessions, when he's playing on the court, he's playing with a newfound level of confidence where he is sure of himself in what he can accomplish on the floor. He's like, give me the rock and I can break this defender down and get straight to the rim. And I think for me, one of the most exciting things is seeing Ime put that trust in him as a primary ball handler, right? Because he was drafted as a point guard. And I asked Ime at media day, I was like, what is your vision for Amin Thompson's role in this team? And he highlighted the versatility, he highlighted being able to play every position, but he also talked about him as a ball handler. And I thought that was really interesting. And I thought it pointed to the fact that we might see some more Amin like on ball reps this season. And we're already seeing that through 2 preseason games.
Well, you hit it on the head. Him being aggressive at the rim and commanding the double team with confidence is going to help him be able to play, make, and facilitate better. And like, I'll be honest, I might not say this for everybody. I don't care if he ever takes another jump shot. Like I see him work on it. It's so much more fluent. It was going in at the scrimmages and practice and everything. But like, he's so dominant that his intelligence can get through. I play with Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd could play an entire game without taking a shot, without getting a jumper off. And he was smart enough to force the defense to guard him. And Jason Kidd is going down as, I think he's like top in 3-point makes, like NBA history. Okay, FYI. But he would know how to facilitate and get guys the ball with his IQ. He knew how to draw defenses. He knew how to do just enough to help that offense flow. So I see a lot of that in Amin. And I'm not saying for him not to take jump shots, but I think his effectiveness, he's selfless enough to really learn how to manipulate the game force those double teams with his imposing his will and just playing in different speeds. But it's there. And I think he was smart enough to also realize this team, as opposed to other teams, give me a little bit of a rope and a leash to make my mistakes as a young player, where we're looking to win. So I can't make my mistakes. Let me do what I'm great at, which is rebound, defend, push tempo, get in transition. And now we'll probably see him open up a little bit. But I like that sometimes guys come in, and you've seen this, Jackson, with the mentality, all summer I work on my step back three, right? Let me show you my step back three. Come on, big fella, this is not the time, right? The mentality is like, what? Like, my bread and butter is still on that glass, still on the defensive end. So we got to be extremely ecstatic to see him going out and still doing those things.
Yeah, doing the things that he already knows that he does well, and just kind of building on that a little bit further, kind of, branching out, right? If you look at his game as like the, a tree trunk or whatever, it's staying loyal to the base of the tree, but then working on those little branches, right? Those little offshoots of the main part of his game, rather than trying to plant a whole new tree, right? I definitely want to get some of your thoughts on the Rook, Reed Sheppard, because I thought he's been, as build, really impressive through a couple games. Want to get your some thoughts on him, as well as who's poised for a breakout season this upcoming year. We're going to get there in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Look, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the exact same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just head on over to FanDuel.com. Take a look at all the different odds, division winners, conference winners, season awards, different playoff predictions, or just the outright favorites to win the Super Bowl. Right now, the Chiefs plus 500, the 49ers plus 650, the Ravens right behind them at plus 750, and then a three-way tie between the Detroit Lions, the Buffalo Bills, and your Houston Texans plus 1,100 to win it all this season. So for all those odds and so much more, visit FanDuel.com. And final segment here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast, home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. All right, Ryan. Obviously, this past summer, the Rockets, one of the only two additions to the team, but arguably a really big addition to this team, was number 3 overall pick, Reed Sheppard. We saw Reed ball out in Summer League. It was really exciting to kind of get a taste of what he could bring to the table. And now we're a couple preseason games in, and I thought we've seen kind of a nice, well-rounded set of games for Reed Sheppard, right? That first game, the shot wasn't really falling, but you saw him do a little bit of everything else, right? You saw him defend, you saw him rebound, you saw him get some assists in there. And then game 2, the shot was a lot more fluid. Like, he was knocking down the jumpers. We saw him he looked a little CP3-esque, if I might say, when he was going around screens and getting to that little midi pull-up. He had a few of those in that game. How are you feeling about Reed so far?
I love Reed Sheppard. Okay? You say, well, I love Reed Sheppard. Here's the reason why. The NBA is trending back towards intelligence, Jackson. You'll appreciate that. You want smart, high IQ guys on the floor. There was a moment where, like, if you were 6'8" and athletic and you could shoot a three, you just stockpiled as many of those guys as you could get, okay? We don't care where they played. We don't care how they played. They're 6'8", you can shoot a three. We're going to put them on the roster, all right? That's what you loaded up with. Now the NBA is trending towards IQ. Reed can get his shot off anytime he wants. And you can't always say that for a small guard, but he's always thinking defensively. He's looking to kind of figure out the speed of the NBA, but he always plays to his strengths. It looks like he'll beat guys to spots. He's kind of figured out that, like, I need to know what you're going to do before you do it. He's having those communications with Fred on, like, kind of how to play a small man's game. It's different. It's a big man's game. Kevin Garnett taught me the most of any coach I've ever had. He was the best coach that I've ever had in my career, and he was one of my teammates, because he could say, well, Ryan, you should be able to do this because you're tall and athletic. Fred VanVleet can look at Reed and say, Reed, you got to beat this guy to the spot. You got to muscle this guy up. Hey, Reed, you can foul this guy, and the referee ain't going to call it because you're small. Okay, so when the 7-footer comes across the lane, you hit him with everything you got. Okay,
just right? throw him a little elbow in his waistline and make sure you do it where the ref can't see. So
ain't calling it. But the point is, he can get a shot off. He's smart. And for this ball club, he play in different speeds. So you can throw Reed out there and say, Reed, go score. Like, go score. Like, get me good shots and go score. Be aggressive off the pick and roll, go score. And then you can say, hey, Reed, Fred maybe has some foul trouble. Run the sets and get LP the basketball. Run a set and get Jalen Green coming off a down screen. Pick it up. And like the simplest thing for a young guy to do, a young guard, kick the ball up the floor, man. Know when to kick it up the floor and know when to run offense. And Reed has a really good feel for that. So he looks like a guy that's going to be able to manipulate games. And when I say manipulate games, Jackson, I want you to remember that that's very key because there's probably a handful of guys who can manipulate games because the point guard position is one that's kind of coming back. Everybody's like, man, we wish we had a win after a Fred VanVleet. But LeBron James, when he's on his A game, he can manipulate a game. I want to get to the foul line. I want to score. I want to set a guy up. I want to slow the game down. I want to speed it up. He can do those things. Luka can do it. Prime James Harden was a master at walking the ball up floor, playing at the tempo and pace that he wanted to do. But Reed, with his intelligence, he kind of understands that. So it's exciting to see that you got a guy that can run the show and kind of play in different speeds. And I think we've been able to see that. He was a little more aggressive in OKC. That was fun to see because he realized without Fred in the lineup, we need you to score. And if they're going to sit back 4 or 5 feet deep in that pick and roll, come off and shoot the ball and soften the defense up for us, okay? And he started to recognize that as the game went on. And then in Utah, it was like, all these guys are itching to get their shots off and been excited and want to move the basketball, get everybody else involved, and he got that. But I like that his mindset is there. So I think we're going to have some fun stuff from Reed Sheppard. And I feel and just hats off, like, my goodness, Rafael Stone doing a great job at Jasmine, but just like, it's not just the pick we wanted, it was the pick that we needed. And I think that maybe his numbers may not inflate for a rookie of the year type of deal, but like if he gets consistent minutes in what we do, and I'm just talking wild here, okay, because I don't think any of those guys care about awards, they care about winning, but I feel like he could easily be the best rookie in this draft by a landslide, from what we've seen. So obviously he's not worried about that. We're just having something that we can brag on, it would be cool for him. But this is a group that wants to come out and win, and he's willing to do his part and kind of play his role. But that's the culture. That's like kind of the fit. That's the landscape. That's where we see Rockets basketball right now.
Hey, look, man, we need, Rockets fans need something to wake up to every morning to get on Twitter and yell about with other fan bases. So if it's Reed Sheppard for Rookie of the Year, if it's Alperen Sengun or Jalen Green for the All-Star team, like, we need some campaigns. Look, I mean, it's been a few years since they've had to wake up every day and defend James Harden on social media when it came to the other 29 fan bases coming after him. So, Rockets fans, you gotta shake off the rust a little bit and get ready. I'm gonna be completely honest. I mean, I don't think Rookie of the Year is like a crazy long shot for Reed, because if he gets like a steady like 15 to 17 minutes a night, and if he's like really impactful in those minutes, even if Zach Edey is doing like 24, 25, 26 minutes a night, first, I don't think Zach Edey's going to crack 30 a night. I really don't. Not as a rookie big man. They're going to want to play Triple J a lot at the 5. They got Brandon Clark back from injury. Like Edey's going to start for sure. I don't know if he's going to, I think he's going to be like a low volume minute starter, and that's going to keep his counting stats from being like just too much in comparison to Reed. And then you're going to take into account, okay, well, team success, things like that. Those are the front two, though, for Rookie of the Year. So it's going to be a neck and neck race between those two guys. Last thing I want to ask you, Ryan, before we get you out of here, you look up and down this roster. They've got their young core 7. We obviously spent a little bit of time talking about Reed just now, talked about Cam in a moment ago. Who do you think has the best chance for a breakout season this year? We saw LP kind of have a really significant breakout season last year. He kind of established himself as the Rockets' best player. We saw Jalen Green have that insane month of March. Who do you think is poised for a breakout season this year?
Man, what's crazy is we could throw so many different guys in that conversation.
You could. You could throw a lot of guys in that conversation.
100%. I think Cam Whitmore. Within the minutes that he's gotten, I think he's going to get a bigger load this season, in my opinion, unless something, trends in a different area. I think he's gotten the trust from Ime. I think he's bought in and just said, hey, like, okay, coach just wants to see me defend, and then I can just run and take the shots that I need to take. And I also believe I like that even like Cam Whitmore as a starter, if he was inserted for some weird reason, I don't know. I don't do lineups, not my deal. Like you'll see the same Cam Whitmore. And like for a lot of players, we fall into comfort. Like for me, I've started, I've come off the bench, I played every position as far as where you are in the rotation. And for me, my best job was like 6-man. And there are games where like I'm in a rhythm as 6-man and they start me and I'm like, my rhythm is off, right? Like Cam Whitmore don't have that button, okay? So I think Cam Whitmore is a guy that can really make a jump. And I think, instead of, you got to realize this guy came, a third of the way through the season was in the G League, right? Now you're getting that from the beginning. So you're getting the end of the season kind of sophomore vibes from these guys from the jump. And we've already seen that. That's why we're ecstatic. And Jackson, you're shooting off 1 million tweets a day because these guys are like rolling right now. And it's like, oh, there's a pickup. Like we're not figuring out. So that's the excitement. But I think Cam Whitmore is one of those guys. And then his mentality, dude, like he doesn't know what he's like. Kevin Durant, who are you? You're like LeBron, like what's up? Like I want to dunk, like you know what I'm saying? Like he's, that like the whole world.
He's gonna get so. I think if I had to set like an over under on the number of posters that he's gonna get this season, I'm gonna go with like he's gonna get at least like 5 posters this season. We already saw one incredible poster already, and it's just preseason.
I'll give you this: the whole world's in love with Anthony Edwards and his pressers, right? Like Cam ain't gonna say nothing wild like that in the presser, but like his mentality is there, like. You got to see me. Like, you got to get to know me, Devin Booker. You got to get to know me. Luka, like, he wants a piece of those guys. So I think we could see Cam Whitmore. But again, you could easily insert Tari Eason as well as they played. You can put Jalen and Alp in those conversations again. You can put Amin Thompson. I mean, Jalen Green for like a week was the best player in the NBA. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's see it for a month, So any of those guys can, I don't even want to say out of body experience, but can flourish because Ime's putting so much pressure, so much expectation. He's like, we are those guys. Like, who are they? Like, they got to play us. They got to compete against us. He's putting that pressure on those guys. So it's like crazy. They don't know any better. And I love that he's not letting them get comfortable.
I love too for Cam, kind of the renewed focus on the defensive side of the ball. That to me is going to be where he can carve out the most amount of minutes because we already know what he can do offensively. He's an elite play finisher, great catch and shoot threat, great cutter, can play well off the ball. But defensively, right, he's got to be either on par or potentially better than some really good talented defenders, right? This is a deep team. There's a limited amount of minutes to go around. So if you're not on the same level or close to the same level as guys like Amin or Tari, it's going to be really hard to earn a big chunk of those bench minutes, in the rotation. But if he can get to be a better defender, if he's got the focus on that end of the basketball, he's got all the physical tools to be a really great player on that side of the floor.
They're pushing each other. The team's looking at Dylan Brooks and going, dang, we got to be more physical. Amin's looking at Cam and going, man, I got to finish stronger. Cam's looking at Amin and going, man, I got to defend better. Guys are looking at Jalen Green going, man, we got to shoot better. We got to be ready to shoot. Then they looking at Fred going, we got to take care of the basketball and get good looks. Like, our guys have this healthy competition within each other. Like, nah, I gotta level up. Tari's going, man, I gotta be ready. I gotta get back. Like, but Tari don't count because his mentality. Tari, I love it. Tari's already crazy. Tari don't need no battery in his back. He's already ready to go. But our guys are pushing themselves to that level. You're looking to the left. You're looking to the right. I gotta go. I gotta show up. I can't get comfortable. But you're watching them improve and going, oh, that worked. Hey, Cam was looking at the men going, dang, man, a man keeps staying on the floor because he got him like 10 rebounds. Let me go give me some more rebounds. And all of a sudden you see Cam crashing in there for rebounds. So, man, these guys, LP going to be looking at Steven Adams going, man, all right, Steven, how you kind of like, LP had excellent possessions where he walled up. Guys were just bouncing off of him. LP going to naturally get more physical. Steven might say, man, shoot, Young Buck getting some post ups. Let me get my post up bag. You know, jokingly, Steven knows exactly who he's in. Steven Adams has been the same darn veteran since I played in the NBA. He came in as a rookie, as an old man. Okay, he played the same way, and ecstatic to have him. But you know, there's the healthy competition internally from these guys that are they're pushing each other and pulling for each other to be better and to do well.
It's going to be a super exciting season, a lot of expectations for this team. And man, I can't wait to have you help and guide us along the journey, because having you and Ryan on the call is always fantastic. We can't wait to get Vanessa back out there on the sidelines, have the trio, have the Three Musketeers all together again. We're really excited for the season, man. Thank you so much, Ryan, for stopping by. And look, I promise it's not going to be as long for the next visit, okay? We'll make it more of a regular thing this season, I promise.
Yeah, I blame you, man. It's been like a whole summer hiatus. You know,
it's my fault. It's my fault. I accept responsibility.
You've been wearing your little villain crown. You know, we need you. We need Jackson back. Okay, come on, man. Let's get back going, man. Call the troops up. You know, but nah, seriously, Jackson, you know this, man. You did a heck of a job here. Folks at home don't know how hard it is to get up every single day and talk Rockets basketball when ain't a game, ain't something going on. So keep it up. You know, I'm a big fan. I watch the work. You help keep us all in the loop and get things going. So, man, understand and know your value in journalism. And dude, you gotta. You're already doing a great job with a bright future ahead, bro. But seriously, keep it up. And Locked On, you guys do a good work. Just in keeping us in the know for us basketball nerds who just love to just talk Rockets for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, man. So seriously, keep it up, bro. And you know I got you.
That's going to do it for another edition of Locked On Rockets. Shout out to the bearded one, Ryan Hollins, for making us stop by the show and sharing some of his thoughts and insights on where the team is at heading into the season. We sincerely appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for checking out the show. If you haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube. Remember, the best way that you can help grow our show is to listen every single day, like and subscribe on YouTube, and drop a comment while you're there. Just come say go Rockets. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And we look forward to having you back right here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball.